This has not been a great environment for crypto. Pretty much everything went down, but ZCash is able to outperform. The question is, for how much longer? Is there still a potential buying opportunity? How much longer can the rally last? Let's have a look at the on-chain data, the data most people are not considering. Now, the peak for ZCash was at $720, and we already came down 30% from that. But that's not really a surprise, given that Bitcoin fell pretty much to the same degree. It's really the fundamental issue is always correlation. When Bitcoin is going up, then many altcoins can go up as well. When Bitcoin comes down, then even something like ZCash is selling off. Here is the relative performance of ZCash, so ZEC, to Bitcoin. The rally really accelerated at the end of September of this year. And ZCash was able to outperform BTC by more than 1000%. We still see higher highs over time, and when we draw parallels to those higher highs, we've got potential supports. The next support is hit after an underperformance of 10% versus Bitcoin. The final support is after an underperformance of 24%. It's a really long-term. ZCash had a pretty hard time. It tended to underperform Bitcoin quite consistently, and only with the recent rally we do see the outperformance. From October 2016 until August of this year, the loss is, when we round by the second decimal, 100%. So we went from a ratio of 500k down to only 12. So pretty much all of ZCash holders lost everything. And so that's interesting given how much attention there is on ZCash. So I'm publishing videos on ZCash regularly on this channel. And have a look at this video over here 1.5 years ago. Initially not so many viewers, but then over time more and more people searched for the video, and then it became an average performing video. Then follow-up videos tended to outperform the average video. The average video is indicated by this area in gray. So there is definitely quite a bit of attention on ZEC. CoinGecko even lists it as one of the most viewed tokens on the entire website. But fundamentally the question is, how much higher can we go? Now, a lot of the underperformance of ZCash came because of token inflation. As in, ZCash was quite inflationary in the early days. It's not that inflationary now though. But have a look at the market cap development. We peaked at roughly 8 billion. And unfortunately, the current peak does quite well align with prior peaks in market cap. And we did see sell-offs in ZCash in the past. Now, there's a ported version on the Binance Smart Chain. And this is now where we come to on-chain analytics. There's 20,000 holders of that token on BSC. What you see on the left, that's the number of new users per day on the Binance Smart Chain trading ZEC. So this peaked on the 7th of November and since then tends to trend downwards. So now it's more returning users than new users that trade ZCash on the Binance Smart Chain. In other words, the investor base isn't growing that much anymore. The 7th of November, by the way, was over here, right? This is ZCash relative to Bitcoin. So it did peak in the price at that point. Then we saw a drop versus BTC of 42%. And then the subsequent recovery is not new investors coming in. Something else is driving the rally starting from the 11th of November. Because on that day, we did not see a lot of new users. It appears as if the retail investor is getting most excited about ZCash right now. The whales aren't buying at the same pace. What we see on the left, that's the number of wallets that hold at least 2 ZEC on the Binance Smart Chain. And with the recent rally, this has gone up quite a bit. From 2,700 all the way to 3,200 wallets. Now, the medium-sized wallets that hold 20 ZEC tokens, so that's now $10,000 worth of the token, that also went up, but it didn't hit a new all-time high. I don't really like doing it, but that's how the YouTube game works. That's how the algorithm works. Please give this video a like if what you've seen so far has been useful. Thank you very much. On the right side, we've got 200 tokens, so that's now $100,000 worth of the token. Again, this did go up, maybe because of market making, but it didn't grow as quickly as the retail investor that has only $1,000 worth of the token. The 10th of October was a quite interesting inflection point because on that day we saw a lot of longs getting liquidated on the perpetual futures market. So we had the flash crash in many altcoins, and here's the market cap of all the altcoins on an hourly chart. The others' market cap went down by 47%. Now have a look at ZCash during that same time period. We also had somewhat of a drop, but we recovered very quickly. Here, the flash crash isn't as significant of an event. right? ZCash seems to have been mainly spared from that crisis. We can also barely see a reduction in open interest, so in bets on the price of ZCash at the time. The open interest now is at historical highs. There is correlation between open interest and price, right? When the price is going up, then there's also more bets on the price. When the bets are going down, when there's less leverage on the asset, then the spot price tends to go down as well. And so a lot of this rally is driven simply by more speculative interest, by more leverage, by more bets on the price. And probably the reason why that could happen is because not many people got liquidated on the 10th of October for ZCash. Very different to most other altcoins. The trading volume is of course extremely high as well. Again, there's positive correlation between attention, trading volume and the price. That's a potential red flag, right? Given that the trading volume can't be that elevated forever. We are now close to $10 billion per day. And again, this was the liquidation event for ZCash on the 10th of October. 94 million, which isn't that much compared to the market cap. For most assets, we see how the funding rate on the 10th of October went actually very negative because the longs got liquidated. But for ZCash, it seems like there have been enough people that were buying the dip, and so the funding rate actually turned positive. Enough market makers were willing to buy ZCash during the dip. Now then subsequently, the funding rate did turn negative. So what I do think happened here is that retail investors started to bet on falling prices and market makers started to buy up ZCash over time on the spot market. So the market makers take the counter position of the retail investor. They are going long. At the same time, they're buying up the token on spot, push up the price, and then push away all the retail investors that get liquidated. So a classical short squeeze. Now currently the market isn't as short anymore as it used to be on the 6th of November. It still tends towards negative funding rates, but it's not as obvious anymore compared to 3 to 4 weeks ago. Really, the big question is, what is the overall market doing? Because there is still a lot of correlation within crypto. In the last 2 weeks, Bitcoin lost roughly 19%. And so ZCash has a very hard time appreciating as well. And the leader of all cryptocurrencies continues to bleed. It's really the macro that now moves everything. And I've actually made a video on that got quite a lot of positive feedback. This crypto crash is bad. Feel free to check out that video on this channel. It's just published a few hours ago. But the TLDR is that the long-term holders continue to sell and they are depressing the price. If the long-term holders don't stop selling, it will be very hard for the current negative momentum to turn around. When they started buying in the past after a dip, that's also when we saw the bottom in the overall market. And that of course would also have a positive impact on ZCash. By the way, we are betting on falling prices for quite a while now, so we're actually making money with that crash. And the reason why we did this and the way how we do this and the statistical methods we use, that's all explained in the premium membership. So that's down below. It's thebitcoinstrader.com. A link to premium also pops up here on the screen. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish here regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube or see you in premium. Cheers.